What is going on, everybody? This is your host with the most, Philly Jim, host of the Linc'D podcast, covering the Philadelphia Eagles and keeping you linked in on the Philadelphia Eagles on the Sideline Sports Network. And let me welcome my co-host with the most, Mr. Linc'D. In zone. What's going on, Linc'D? What's up, man? How you doing tonight?
I guess there's two of us with the most now. We're running the same show.
Let's keep it clear.
Right. No, that's you. That's your trademark.
You're probably the second. You're the co-host with the second most, but since
right.
I'm the host and you're the co-host, I feel comfortable saying you're the co-host with the most. So
silver medal is still good. I'll still take a silver medal. You want to win, but
it's better than a participation trophy. I'll tell you that. Better than that. But we already have some people in the comment section, so let's say what's up to Reaper Talon. He apparently has notifications on for me because every single time I go live, he's always the first one in the chat. Shout out to Reaper for always being first. And we also have Speedy Eagle in the house. What is up, guys? So we got a lot of stuff that we are going to get to today. Obviously, you guys know with our new segment, which we introduced last week, Philadelphia Eagle Player of the Week, where we talk about certain players from the Eagles from different eras in history. It could be a current Eagle. It can be an Eagle from the past. Either way, we're definitely going to have some fun with this segment because guess who the Player of the Week is, ladies and gentlemen? It is Mr. Jeremiah Trotter, and I got to give a huge shout out to Mr. Jeremiah Trotter for this right here, guys. I tweeted out some stuff about Jeremiah this week in his career with the Eagles. His pick six against the Dallas Cowboys, one of the most memorable plays for me that I remember sticking out in his career. Right. He saw it on Twitter, as you guys can see right here. And let me take this off for a second. As you guys can see right here, that is my Twitter account where I just tweeted the video, and he tweeted us up with the prayer hand. So Jeremiah Trotter, seeing the tweet, you gotta love it. Jeremiah Trotter, as much as Brian Dawkins is one of the biggest reasons that our defenses were successful, especially in the early 2000s, you also got to give Jeremiah Trotter a lot of credit as well. He was one of the best linebackers that we had in his career with the Eagles. For his whole entire NFL career, he has close to 800 solo tackles for his career. In his career in Philadelphia, which was 8 seasons, crossing a couple of different stints, because he did go to Washington for a couple of years and come back. But it's a total of around 565 total solo tackles for Jeremiah Trotter. He was all over the field. He was nicknamed the Axe Man because of his little axe celebration that he used to do every time he would make a big play. And he did make quite a lot of them. And don't forget, he was a 4-time Pro Bowl selection. All of those came with the Philadelphia Eagles. And do not forget his 2000 campaign where he was a first-team All-Pro at the linebacker position. Jeremiah Trotter, absolutely amazing football player and one of the Eagles that I will always remember because that is the era that I did grow up watching. Jeremiah Trotter, an outstanding Philadelphia Eagle.
Right. I mean, he's a perfect embodiment when it comes to when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles fan base. He's a perfect embodiment that, he has proven that you don't need to look in the first or the second, as early as the first round to find the talent, that he is, being a former third-round pick from Philadelphia, first team All-Pro in 2000 with his Pro Bowl year, and he followed it up in 2001 with the second team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler again, 2 consecutive seasons. Running backs, quarterbacks, you name it.
What's up, Randall?
Between the two of those, nobody was safe on the football field when the Axeman was out there, and you can arguably say that he was just as loud in that huddle as Brian Dawkins. Like between the two of them, they were two of the loudest individuals.
He probably wasn't as crazy as Brian Dawkins, but it was definitely probably as loud.
when he, just another player to have where when he spoke, you listened, and those are the kinds of guys that you embraced it. You embraced them. They were the definition of those Eagles defenses back in the day. And like I said, he is proof that you don't need to look into the first or the second round to find the talent that he was. And as we have watched in our previous draft class with Nakobe Dean and between him and trying to bring up Davion Taylor and guys like that and build up this linebacker core, just a perfect example to look to. And Eagles Hall of Fame inductee in 2016, well deserved, and still 45 years young, and one of the most beloved Eagles of all time. Man, great selection for this week.
So the real question is, I don't want anyone watching the show to tune in the comment section. Answer this question for me, and Lindy, you answer this question for me as well. Have the Eagles had any linebacker since Jeremiah Trotter left / retired from the NFL?
Right.
Have they had another linebacker on his level? Any of them that you can think of off the top of your head?
I mean, with already him being as underrated as he was, and you just look at his accolades and say, oh, he was a 4-time Pro Bowler, but it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it means a lot more, especially for him playing the linebacker position, first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro. Like you said, spent most of his career in Philadelphia. He had one stint with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was in Washington for, I think, a year, 2
years.
I forget. I think it was, something like that. But no, I mean, who can you really point to after him? I mean,
the only player that comes close is probably Jordan Hicks, but Jordan Hicks could not stay healthy, and he
right. Yeah, I mean,
Trotter, but he was the only. He's really one of the only linebackers we've had, and really in recent memory that hasn't been complete garbage.
Yeah, I thought of him and Michael Kendricks off the top of my head, respectively, but there's. I'm not
gonna count Trent Cole because he's more of like a pass rusher. He's more of like a defensive end. He's more of like a Hassan Reddick type of player.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that honestly, to answer that question, the answer is hell no. We haven't had a player close to his level at the position. And it just goes to show you how much the Eagles have neglected the linebacker position and very much undervalued it over the years. So Jeremiah Trotter, I mean, I'm looking for Nakobe Dean to be hopefully the best linebacker that the team has had since Jeremiah Trotter. I think that there's no reason that he can't be with his talent and everything that I think he is going to bring to the team. And his IQ is off the charts as well. D'Amico Ryans is another good one. I forgot about D'Amico Ryans. But, yeah, he was definitely an underrated Eagle as well. But, yeah, guys, those are our thoughts about Jeremiah Trotter. If you guys want to leave in the comment section, what is your favorite memory or your favorite game or your favorite play that you remember of Jeremiah Trotter's career? Please feel free to let us know. But, guys, we got to get to some Eagles news on this show. We know the show is called Linc'D. It's because we're linking you guys in with all the news. First news of the day, we are going to give our reaction to the new Philadelphia Eagles logo font.
Here we go.
Okay? The new Philadelphia Eagles logo font has been released, and this is the new font, guys. I know if you guys haven't seen it, which I'm sure everyone that's watching the show right now, if you're an Eagles fan, you've definitely already seen this. The old school logo font is no more after 20-plus years with that. They're going to this thing right here, whatever this abomination of a logo that you want to call it. Listen, this is an abomination. There's no other way to say it. This is like this is like some crap that you can go in Microsoft Word when I'm writing a paper, and I can put some random font in there. It's like any of the apps you can download to, make thumbnails and stuff like that for YouTube, which I use a lot of. I've seen some crap that looks exactly like that on there. I'm not even kidding.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Get out of my head.
I'm just like,
right.
This is not the type of stuff that the Eagles do. These teams that are trash, like the Falcons and the Jets and all this, they're always doing this rebranding stuff. The Eagles are not a team that does that rebranding stuff. I don't understand why you would ruin a perfectly good logo font. I love the logo font. If you guys see the Philly Gym logo, you guys will notice that my font is almost exactly the same, because that's how much I'm a big fan of it. If you're gonna, a lot of people are saying they changed it because they are bringing back Kelly Green starting next season. Okay, how about this? Why the hell do you not just change the color that's on the font that you already have, that's already really good? Just change it to Kelly Green. Have a midnight green and Kelly Green one. Problem solved. But instead, you have to do all this crap for the new font. Like, I hate it more than words can describe. But, Lindy, I'll let you share your thoughts about it now. I'm done with my serious rant on the logo.
Yeah, but before it gets any worse. No. I mean, yeah, like I said, you took the words out of my mouth, right? I feel like I can use an Adobe program, like, how I create my thumbnails and whatnot, and pick a font off of there and just make it like that. It's just there's no organic feel to it. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Eagles have worked with their previous logo for how long now, and it's just been a staple for the franchise. Like, as soon as you see that type of font, that type of lettering, on anything, you think of the Philadelphia Eagles, and now you transition to this, and it's like, well, okay, well, the Jets have something basic. The Detroit Lions have something basic, and now the Eagles are kind of going in that kind of direction.
Listen, we're not a franchise that's on the level of those. I mean, those franchises that you just named are not on the level of the Philadelphia Eagles, which is part of the reason why I have such a major problem with it. We're not one of these garbage teams. We're in the playoffs pretty much every year since Andy Reid took over as a coach in 1998. We were basically at least a playoff team every year. We made the playoffs with Chip Kelly. We made the playoffs with Doug, won a Super Bowl with Doug, actually, and we made the playoffs in Nick Sirianni's first year. We're always in the playoffs no matter what. We're not one of these garbage teams that continues to, pick in the top 5 every year, like the Falcons and the Lions and all those teams that you named, and the Jets. But go ahead.
No, it's as if when you watch these other teams make those kinds of changes, that they make a change, a change like that with the logo, and then all of a sudden the team is going to turn a corner and they're going to start to look relevant just because they made a logo change. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, stick to what works. There was nothing wrong with what you had that warranted a change. Yeah, change is good, but the transition has to justify the means, and I just don't think that there's enough there to do so. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Right, and I'm gonna actually show something that I've seen today on Twitter. Of the Kelly Green jerseys with the new logo font, which honestly, with the Kelly Green, it actually doesn't look that bad. But here's the problem:
it looks like arena football.
Even next season, when we bring these back, which we're going to, these are going to be a regular jersey. The midnight green is still going to be our regular jersey. It's going to be the jersey that we continue to wear. unless they decide to completely do away with Midnight Green, which I'm not entirely sure if they will or they won't. Depends on the popularity. I mean, the Kelly Green's very popular among the fans, but I'm just saying, like, this font is starting right now. Like, all the jerseys and all the stuff that you guys have now of the old font, that's it. Like, on the new jerseys, if you buy any NFL jersey from here on out, I'm pretty sure it will have this font on it, or once the Eagles and the NFL makes it, it will have that on there. Okay?
I thought I heard that it's not incorporated until 24.
You heard that from where? Because I didn't see that.
Somebody was talking about it on Twitter that it wasn't supposed to take effect until 2024.
I'll have to look into that, but I'm telling you right now, it looks good with the Kelly Greens.
Yeah, it's okay.
It will look like crap with the Midnight Greens and the black, especially the black jerseys, especially the black ones. So it disgusts me, and I hate it absolutely. And we got Bacon Grizzler in the chat. What's up, Grizz? He says, what's up? He says the new logo font made him puke. It made both of us puke as well. And we were really just pretty disgusted by the whole logo font situation. But anyway, guys, we got to move on to some more news for you. The Eagles signed safety Jaquiski Tart. I think I said his name wrong, but
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, he's got a very unique name, so I'll give him that. Hopefully his uniqueness as a name is translated to uniqueness as a football player, and hopefully not the bad type of uniqueness that we have seen from a lot of players in the Philadelphia Eagles secondary, corners and safety throughout the history of the team. So he's a veteran. He's been around for a lot of years. He was drafted in 2015, I think. And, you know, he's a solid player. He's not going to be great. He's not going to be, you know, doing anything crazy. But he's probably better than the guys that we had. I mean, that's not saying much because the guys that we have are either inexperienced or just not very good at the game of football, to be quite honest. People have been kind of hyping up Marcus Epps for the offseason, and I've just kind of been sitting here like, I don't know. This is a guy that barely has gotten any playing time. People say he got the most of what he did play, but at the end of the day, until I see a guy do it consistently playing starter snaps, I'm not going to sit here and making any, you know, proclaims that I think he's going to be, you know, a stud. Because I just don't feel that way. I don't feel as though anyone in our safety position, including Anthony Harris, is a stud. I feel like we lack like a lot of talent at the position, which is why it's probably the biggest concerns in terms of positions on the team going into the season. But he's probably still better, as I said, than any of the players that we already had in place. So it is what it is. I feel like they just had to bring in somebody, and that's what they ended up doing.
Yeah, no, this is clearly a depth signing. You know, in terms I think of starter potential. It was, I think, if I remember correctly, I think the highest snap count percentage that he has had in 1 year was about 91%. So he is used to a workload. You know, starter potential. One of the only drawbacks to me is I don't think his availability is very good. He has kind of been up and down in terms of games played / started. I think the most games he has played in a year is 15, so one off. It's not really a big deal. I think he had a good year for 2017. I don't think he missed very many games in 17, but he was mostly a bit shaky down the stretch because I think he got plagued with a couple of injuries. But nonetheless, Jaquiski Tart, I'll help him out there with pronunciation. Shouted out to him on Twitter. Welcomed him to the Birds. But in the case of Jeremiah Trotter, he did not see my tweet like Axeman seen yours. But nonetheless, no, he has, to me, he has good starting potential. The only issue I'm going to have is how they deploy him, being at him, and had to remind the folks
Had to remind him. Had to remind him.
Right. But I think the only thing I'm gonna look for is the fact that he and Anthony Harris are both strong safeties. I do know that Jaquaski does have, he does have the flexibility to go to free safety, but to me, he makes most of his pay dirt as a physical type of safety. He's going to want to be up to at the line of scrimmage. He's going to want to make some tackles. He's a very good run defender. In coverage, he is capable. He is capable against running backs. He can get physical with a tight end, like we seen in 2017, where even though the 49ers got annihilated by the Eagles, anytime Jaquaski Tart was out there and Zach Ertz was his assignment, he didn't give up a whole lot. I think the first matchup he got annihilated by Ertz, but after that he picked up the pace. He had a better game that day than Eric Reed because they were swapping between the two of them. But to this point, with the amount of experience that he has built over the years, I think he is in prime position of getting some starting snaps on this football team, just due to the fact that our depth has been a concern for a while, even though that we have high hopes for a growing Marcus Epps. Kayvon Wallace hasn't hit his stride yet. Andre Sachere is primarily special teams. Jared Mainen still has some work to do. So when you take that combination with him, Anthony Harris, Marcus Epps, and Kayvon Wallace as your top four, yeah, it's nothing to be excited about, but in terms of quality starting snaps, when you primarily have focused on the defensive line, the linebacking core, and your corners, well, your last line of defense can breathe a little bit, and they're not going to be prone to exposure. So I like the move. I like the move in terms of that. It provides us some extra depth, and, well, more importantly, or somewhat importantly, extra competition in that group, with the departure of Rodney McLeod. So,
absolutely.
People shouldn't get all, like 10 out of 10 move and yada, yada. He's coming in here around 30. Not sure. I don't remember when his birthday is, to say that he'll be 31 at the start of the season or not, but he is another veteran on this team, much like Anthony Harris. And, between the two of them, I think it's a good pairing in terms of veteran leadership. But until we see how he's deployed in the defense, either way, it's more starting experience that the team didn't really have. So, good move all around.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we had to do something. We had to bring in anybody, honestly, that knows how to play the position, because we're clearly lacking back there. So depth move, and Randall says he's 29. He'll probably be 30 by the time the season starts.
Yeah.
But hey, what are you going to do? We had to bring in somebody to help out the secondary. So safety is still a major concern for me, but as long as these guys can collectively not get cooked and give up like ginormous plays deep down the field, then we should be fine because we have a good pass rush. Our linebackers are way better. I'm actually really excited to see this linebacking core play in the season because I can't even say that I've been feeling excited for linebackers in a long time. We were talking about Jeremiah Char at the beginning of the show, and I'm just like, we've had so many trash linebacking cores, but this linebacking core's actually looking pretty good on paper. And, corners looking good, D-line looking good, safety, yeah, they're not looking great, but the rest of the team around them should be able to help them out enough so they can just do the basic fundamentals. We should be okay, I hope.
Right. Like I said, I think if the defensive depth was a little, I think if it was in a worse position than it is right now, especially when talking about linebacker and the cornerback spot, then you're probably going to better address the safety position. But being that you have James Bradbury and Darius Slay on the outside, or just Slay in general, I think he shared a tweet yesterday about a compilation of correcting people saying, calling him Darius, and then he's just like,
he doesn't like to be called Darius.
Pointing him out. No, he don't.
Really
I think he said only his grandmother can call him Darius, but other than that, he's referred to as Slay. So, but between Slay and Bradbury on the outside, and then you got your group of linebackers and Kaiser White, T.J. Edwards, and Nakobe Dean, Davion Taylor coming back from injury, and then you may throw Patrick Johnson a little bit in there, whatnot. We already know Hassan Reddick's more of a pass rusher, than defensive line in general. Like I said, being that safety is more so the last line of defense, other than if you want to drop one into the box, or bring them up on the line of scrimmage and run situations. I feel that the safety spot is a lot more fit to do stuff like that, as we have known the Eagles to be aggressive against the run. So I think that's why this move is a little more. I think that's why this move is a little more exciting than it is like just to brush it to the side. But yeah, like I said, it's people can be a little more. There is reason for excitement about it, and well, depth wise, wasn't looking very good. So welcome to the Birds, Jaquiski Tartt.
So as we wrap up this segment here, just going to get the final word on Jaquiski Tartt.
Mm-hmm.
This is all I'm going to say, and this is going to be the unadulterated truth for everyone watching. Okay?
There we go.
Jaquiski Tartt, if you're watching this podcast by any chance, please do me a favor. Whatever you do, just don't be Nate Allen, Kirk Coleman, Patrick Chung, or any of the bums that we've had in the post Brian Dawkins era. If you're able to do that, everything should be A-okay. So let's move on now with some more topics to discuss. We're on episode 6 of this podcast, and we are going to be talking about number 6 on the Philadelphia Eagles and his offseason approach. Obviously, he just had the big all-star celebrity game with all his friends and teammates and stuff. So he was able to raise a lot of money for like a good cause. Our man Jalen Hurts had the game-winning home run in that. So shout out to Jalen Hurts. He can play baseball too. So I mean, this guy's not just he might become like Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson and all of them. If a major league team send some scouts out to the game. Maybe they did. I don't know. But Jalen Hurts can rake it, so I would actually give him a chance. If your hitters are slipping right now.
Confidential for beating my Braves today. Snapped our winning streak, unfortunately. Yep. Yeah.
So
15 games.
With all that being said, he's also been working extremely hard this offseason, trying to see what he can get better at, where he can grow as a receiver. And as a rookie, we saw him break Deshaun Jackson's franchise rookie record for receiving yards in a season, had over 900 yards last year. And you would assume with the climb that Jalen Hurts is going to take and the climb that Devontae is also going to take, there is no doubt that Devontae Smith will have over 1,000 receiving yards this season. Devontae Smith has also been watching tape of another Devontae Adams, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, now with the Las Vegas Raiders, who has been kind of recognized last few years as maybe the best receiver in the NFL, if not a top 3 receiver at worst, and one of the best route runners by far, as well as Keenan Allen, who definitely has a similar skill set and a little bit more of a similar build to Devontae Smith compared to Devontae Adams, who's definitely a little bit bigger than Smitty. So I like what he's doing because I feel like he wants to grow as a route runner. He knows that, there's a lot of players in the league that, they can go down the field and they're really big and they're really fast and they can, make those type of plays. But a complete receiver can run the full route tree and be effective at all the routes. And that's what he's trying to focus on, studying these two guys, in particular, Devontae Adams and Keenan Allen, who are two of the best route runners in the NFL. And Devontae Smith is the main focus, he said, for the offseason for him was to continue to get better at catching the ball in tight window traffic. So if you have a guy that's working on that, and if he really does take the next step and get better in that area, this is going to be a problem for two sides of the ball, two sides of the defense covering A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, because we know A.J. Brown already has the size and the ability to make those tough window catches like Devontae Smith is trying to get better at, and Devontae Smith is trying to grow into an elite level route runner. I love what I am seeing from Devontae Smith, and that is why I'm saying anyone who hasn't done so already, this is your chance. If you're buying stock in year 2, Devontae Smith, do it right now. Devontae Smith's going to be a future star for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, I guess it's easy to say Smitty is making it hard for Hurts not to throw his way with all this work that he's putting in. I have to imagine that there's some, stress of irritation at times where Hurts was really undecisive at times. His anticipatory skills weren't quite there. And, most notably in many cases in the playoff game against the Buccaneers where, Devontae Smith was just really having his way with whoever was covering him, multiple occasions getting open. And one of the most notable ones was that, that attempted touchdown throw where I think Smitty had Jamel Dean, on the ground just by making a double move to the end zone, and Hurts was just too slow in reaction, worrying about setting his feet instead of trying to make a throw on the run, even though it was a little bit off platform, but not too much. But this is stuff that we have been used to, whether him being at Alabama, winning the Heisman as a receiver, coming into the NFL, his mindset hasn't changed. That's those Bama players for you. Anybody anybody like that in the SEC, between Alabama and then we bring in the Georgia kids and Jordan Davis and Kobe Dean. That's just a mindset to have in building a football team with those kind of players. But in terms of Devontae Smith, one of the criticisms he even received last year was, "Oh, you only reached those numbers because you had an extra game." Like, no, come on, cut the crap. I mean, the kid's obviously talented, and it went underrated at times, because the Eagles were an up and down football team, and nobody really took him seriously down the stretch because they were beating teams that they were supposed to beat. But I think it was what was the birthday game for Devontae Smith against the Denver Broncos?
I think Denver.
Yep. I think it was against the Broncos where he and Hurts just had a day together. That touchdown throw to him going up 50-50.
Patrick Surtain got cooked.
Patrick Surtain, really taking advantage of him there. I think.
Honestly, he didn't even necessarily cook him on that play. It was just a phenomenal catch. It was really good coverage.
Right. Better positioning. Yeah, but that's two Bama guys going. Two Bama guys going all at it. But I think Smitty had 3 touchdowns that game. He was on fire. But nonetheless, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see out of your best players, is to learn. Your best players in your team, they want to learn. They want to learn from the best. And as we have seen Devontae Adams over the years with Aaron Rodgers, one of the best to do it. Keenan Allen, between the two of them, and Smitty has said it on multiple occasions. He only wants to study who he feels that his game matches, and that's the most important part. But I tell you what, if he keeps this up, then like I said, I think Hurts is going to have a hard time not throwing to Smith, even with AJ Brown on the field, because again, there's only one football. And we got three prolific playmakers between him, AJ Brown, and Dallas Goedert, and they all got to eat. So good for friendly competition.
I don't see Devontae or AJ or Dallas or anyone really in this team that's like a
even complaining about targets.
I don't
think we have any of those kind of players either.
We don't have like an Antonio Brown or a OBJ or someone like that in this team. Like, they're all very much not selfish, and they want to do whatever it takes to try to win. So
family oriented,
correct. So Grizz says Hurts better not throw to Reagor over Smith. I do not think that is going to. I think there's no way that can happen. Maybe if we didn't get AJ Brown, but no way. I mean, he's like, we got a question: is Reagor even going to be on the field? Which is a good segue into our next segment about Devin Allen. Devin Allen went off in the New York City Grand Prix in the 110-meter hurdles. He recorded the third fastest time ever recorded, and he obviously finished in first place at this event. We all know that he's a track star as an Olympian. He has not played football basically since a very long time ago. In 2015, I believe, was his senior season in Oregon, in the Oregon Ducks. So I think that Jalen Reagor is in big trouble right now. And the reason I think that he's in such big trouble is not only that he is continuing to fall down the depth chart at receiver, he is also falling down the depth chart at punt returner and kick returner, where he once had quite an advantage over people like the Greg Wards of the world that was competing against him. But now he has Britton Covey, an undrafted free agent, and he has Devin Allen, a track star turned NFL player that wants to leave his mark. And at this point in time, I honestly believe that Devin Allen, basically what your job to do is catch the ball, read the blocks, and get as many yards as possible. And you have shown that you have the world-class speed to do so. Right. So I'm led to believe that this position of the punt returner and the kickoff returner is actually Devin Allen's to lose, not Jalen Reagor or anyone else on the team.
Right, and even definitely when your role is diminished, and you look at Devin Allen, you look at Britton Covey, and what they can provide, possibly, from an offensive standpoint, and being some of those gadget guys who can run this, who can run the reverses, who can run the sweeps, or, just burn whatever victim they have in coverage down the field, whatever corner it is. I don't know. Like, this is more of a detriment. This is more of a detriment to me on just the fact that we're talking about a first round pick, fighting for snaps, fighting for a roster spot, possibly, even though we know deep down that that's not entirely true, because Howie Roseman's not that guy to just give up on a first round pick. Much like the fact that
absolutely
much the fact like that Andre Dillard is still here, even though that's more of a premium position, but J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who was a former second rounder, is still here, going through a positional change at tight end. So it's not going to be easy for Reagor to completely fall out of favor. But when you add bodies like this who are just explosive from a speed standpoint, and that's part of why we brought Reagor in here, is his his twitch, his explosiveness, what he was able to
Awesome.
show on tape at TCU in terms of not just offense, but special teams, even in the return, in the return game, kickoffs, punts, whatever. And now, well, competition is starting to grow. And, well, it's going to be a survival of the fittest at the end of the day.
100%.
And we just hope at this point, for me personally, I'm not going to really continue to bring the kid further down and down, because obviously he has gone through a lot recently with the loss of Jeff Gladney and other individuals. But I hope for his sake that he comes back 100% from a mentality standpoint and really pours all of his heart and soul into football, so we can potentially get the best out of him through training camp and not get enamored by some highlights against the Patriots in joint practices, and show us the first round value that the Eagles have, and produce it on the field in regular season games. Like, there was a little bit of excitement week 1 last year against the Falcons, and him being led by a pancake block by Jordan Mailata and just bursting it to the end zone. But other than that, that's all I really hope for him. But it's getting hard. It's getting harder and harder. Cards are stacked against them. So.
I just can't see it. I mean, will he maybe still be on the team? Yeah, but he's like, what's he gonna do? Like, I don't see him outperforming almost any of the wide receivers at this point. I could see him on special teams, but right now, I just think Devin Allen has got this baby right where he wants it. The only thing left for him to do is actually show it in a real game. Like in the preseason game, if he somehow returns a touchdown in the preseason, it's a wrap. It's over. Like, he's going to be the number 1 starting kickoff returner of this team going into the year. So Jalen Reagor, if I was looking at what Devin Allen's doing, like in being a track star and winning all these, amazing records against not only some of the difference with the NFL is, yes, there's a lot of fast people in the NFL, but not all the fastest people are in the NFL, in the world. He's competing against the fastest people, period, in the world, and he's breaking records. So I honestly really believe he's going to be able to get this stuff done. I really, really do. And as we come to the next segment, guys, and shout out to everyone in the comment section that was admiring that I have a Vegeta poster on my wall. It is pretty cool. But we got to give our bold predictions for the Philadelphia Eagles season for this year. This can be any type of bold prediction that you want to give. I will go first, as I am going to stay on the defensive side of the football here. And I am going to say my bold prediction of the season is that Darius Slay, with some more help with James Bradbury on the other side of him, is going to lead the NFL in interceptions this year, and he will be a candidate for the Defensive Player of the Year, as the Eagles will also have a top 10 defense this season.
Wow. Okay. That's still a fair analysis either way, man. How many years we've been asking for a number 1 corner to have some help on the outside, and while there's been serviceable guys over there, they just none of them are really eye popping. None of them have really contributed to some of our higher expectations. I don't want to be basic with my prediction, because the first one that came to mind for me is I thought that the I thought that the Eagles would at least pass. I thought that they would average about 34 passes a game. That was one of my first predictions. Being the type of players that we have added to the offense. But I feel that I should go. I feel that I should go a step further with this one. I may go to the defensive side of the football.
So we're both going defense with this prediction.
Let me think on this. I believe that Jordan Davis could potentially be a defensive rookie of the year candidate.
Really?
I believe so. If you imagine that, where he is currently as a nose tackle, and just being able to obliterate offensive linemen and have the attraction that he does in watching his college tape and literally seeing 2 to 3 guys just put all of their attention towards him. But the one thing that we really haven't seen from him is his capability as a pass rusher. Being that Tracy Rocker has put a strong emphasis in wanting to, in the recruitment of this guy, not just to collegiate programs, but the NFL for the Eagles.
So.
Yeah, I think they're going to really want to take his game to the next level. And if you are going to ultimately be that Fletcher Cox 2.0 replacement, then that's the next part of your repertoire that you need to add to your game. Because as much as we love some Fletcher Cox, who is a combination of, as being a good nose tackle, who is intimidating in the run, but he is not afraid to push it upfield and throw a lineman into the quarterback's face or sack him for that matter. I think Jordan Davis is well capable of, being
Jordan Davis
almost
is bigger than Fletcher Cox.
Times two. Yeah.
I actually seen a picture of. I saw a picture of Jordan Davis at practice standing next to Fletcher Cox. He's like significantly bigger and taller than Fletch.
Right.
Pause.
Right.
As Jeremiah said in the comments.
Good call. Good call. Right. But no, I guess I can. I guess I can jot myself down. For 2 predictions. So offensively, I feel that the Eagles are going to average at least 34 passes a game, and then I'll say that Jordan Davis has the potential of being a defensive rookie of the year candidate, which is going to be very tough when you got Aiden Hutchinson for the Detroit Lions, and you got the LSU corner for the Houston Texans. And you got Sauce Gardner. Wow, across the board. My prediction's getting bolder and bolder the more I think about it. But no,
that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be bold. It's not supposed to be easy.
Right? Yeah, completely fine. But
an easy one would have been the Eagles are going to be top 5 in rushing yards again, which we all know we're going to be with our offensive line and the players that we have. We're still going to be top 5 in rushing, no doubt. If not, still be number 1 again. But we got some questions here. So, Cara, shout out to Cara in the comment section. She says, how many do you guys think that is going to make it to the Pro Bowl this year? I think that we could get 6 to 8 Pro Bowlers. I think that guys like Jason Kelsey is a lock. I could see Jordan Mailata making his first Pro Bowl. I could see both Smitty and AJ both making the Pro Bowl. I could see Dallas making the Pro Bowl. And, of course, I also could see Jalen making the Pro Bowl if he does take the leap that I believe he's capable of doing. So he can get 5. That's like 5, 6, or 7 guys just like right off the top of my head. I think that we could get around maybe at least 6 guys in the Pro Bowl.
Wow, and that's just on the offensive side of the football alone.
Not Grizz.
That is crazy.
It's called a bold prediction. It's not called like it's not 420. I know it's June, but you missed that a couple days ago with 420, bro. Or a couple months ago actually. So you're a little bit late with 420. So I would have to ask you to stop smoking whenever you're smoking. because this is a
Right.
smoke-free show.
Right.
We don't
Good
smoke.
call. Good call, Grizz. Good call. It's like, actually, let me stop smoking. Good call. I don't know. I'm not going to try and be a Debbie Downer with this, but in terms of Pro Bowl, the first number that popped into my head was 4.
Four.
You know, I think on average that's what the Eagles normally do anyway. I could go as high as 6, but I'm not going to list very many on the offensive side of the ball, only because when you put Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Goddard into that conversation at the same time, I'm just thinking, well, there's only one football to go around. So, you know, what level of dominance are they going to really have on a weekly basis? And, you know, you're gonna have to go at it from a matchup perspective. Who's going to dominate the most in that regard? But you can definitely say that you can lock any one of our linemen potentially for a Pro Bowl. Kelsey should definitely get another one.
Almost all of them.
We're talking the best center in football here. Mailata's very capable of getting one. Don't count out Landon Dickerson either. I think he's pretty close. I think he's close to getting one.
And you still got Lane.
Lane Johnson you can't count out either. Maybe Isaac Seumalo switching to right guard, you know, being that he's the top guy at that spot. You know, even defensively, you brought up Slay. There's a very high potential for that one. Wow. Maybe Hargrave with the addition of Jordan Davis. You know, his sack numbers should only elevate. Josh Sweat could potentially get that. Hassan Reddick could potentially get that. Wow. I mean, yeah. How many players did I name right off? You know, how many players did we name right off the bat?
Got a lot of good players on the team.
Right.
But I don't want to get too mixed up because when it comes to the Pro Bowl, I don't really care about it as much because at the end of the day,
don't the players voted anyway?
Fans actually can vote for the Pro Bowl. So at the end of the day, and most of the time, even the players don't care about the Pro Bowl because the Pro Bowl is pretty much with all due respect, is a joke. It's a joke. It's like it's not even a real football game, which is the players don't want to risk injury, so of course you're not going to try it. That's why the NFL has been talking about getting rid of the Pro Bowl or replacing it with something else. Like, you're basically already playing flag football, except you're wearing pads. Like, you might as well just make it a real flag football game because that's what it is. And the Pro Bowl has just evolved into something that is about who wants to be there. You know, I mean, Mac Jones was like a 50th alternate or something, and Mac Jones was in the Pro Bowl. Was Mac Jones like a decent player? Sure. He wasn't trash. He wasn't that good. He's not like a Pro Bowl level player, but he went because Russell Wilson and, you know, all these other quarterbacks that got voted into it, they didn't want to be a part of it. So that's why, if we don't have a bunch of Pro Bowlers, I don't give a crap. If we have a bunch of guys that gets all pro, that's very different. When you are an all pro, that means for that season you were one of the best players at your position. That's why I rank all pro much, much, much higher than I rank like the Pro Bowl, because the Pro Bowl is pretty much an unwatchable product anyway. Yeah.
and I mean, our team is, you know, we're not the only team in the NFC conference either. You know, there's plenty of other teams with potential Pro Bowlers on them. And, you know, it's not like going back in the day for me and remembering the early 2000s NBA All-Star games and them actually playing competitively, and, you know, in the 2000 All-Star game, I can always go back to and note on it. Who, I mean, you know, T-Mac, Vince Carter, Iverson, you know, you go across the board, and these guys are, you know, they just didn't really care at that time. They wanted to give us a product of competitive basketball, and, you know, and in terms of football, it's just, we just don't see that anymore. And NFL players have come out and talked about it themselves. It's bad time. The Pro Bowl it's at a bad time, especially for I think especially for those that are in the playoffs, and then you have to find you get the substitutions in there and the replacements, and they just don't want to put themselves at that kind of risk anymore. But yeah, no, I mean, in terms of talking about our birds, we list off how many players we think that are that can get to the Pro Bowl, but of course we're not the only team in the conference. So.
To Grizz's point, we only actually had 6 Pro Bowlers in 2017, and crazy enough, Jason Kelce was not among the Pro Bowlers. There's actually, and that's crazy because I do think he was voted to All Pro. There was a year that Jason Kelce, because I specifically remember Jason Kelce getting voted to All Pro, but he did not get voted to the Pro Bowl. And I was just
was it first or second?
How the hell does that make any sense? I believe it was first team, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure the year, but I know that I know I specifically remember this happening because when it happened, I went on a huge rant about it. I was like, this is why the Pro Bowl is an absolute joke. Like, how are you literally voted in the best of your position and then you don't make the Pro Bowl? Like, that's at the end of the day, guys, you understand how I feel about the Pro Bowl. So if we have Pro Bowlers, I'll be happy for them. But if we don't have a bunch of Pro Bowls, I don't care. Like, if these guys are good enough and play the level I think they're going to, we are going to have a winning team. We're going to have a playoff team that's going to be able to do damage in the playoffs. And that's really all that matters to me at the end of the day. So if some of our guys gets voted as an All-Pro, whether it's first or second team, I think that's a lot more impressive than making the Pro Bowl. And I always
it's a good resume filler for your Hall of Fame ballot. If you get that opportunity. So I mean, yeah, there you go.
I'm pretty sure he's done that before as well. Yeah. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for this episode. Thank you guys to all that's watching and that tuned into this episode. Of course, you guys, if you missed the beginning, you can always check out the replay. We got 6 people in the chat. If you guys could do me a favor, leave a like on the stream here so we can get the LinkedIn podcast to more Eagles fans so we can, get everybody linked in on everything that's happening around the team. And you guys can also catch it back here on Friday nights, every Friday night, covering the Eagles. So, Lindy, you want to let the people know any other podcasts or, obviously your YouTube channel. Just make sure if you guys are not subscribed to Lindy, check out his content as well on YouTube. But, Lindy, what you working on right now, man?
Yeah, of course. I got to make sure I drop my, my thoughts video on the Jaquaski Tart edition, and how I feel about it, which you already got a good glimpse of that in the podcast. If you were here for the beginning, if not, the replay is obviously available, but, nonetheless, nothing in terms of any podcasting. Already here for LinkedIn with Sideline Sports. You already
I like that one, Carl.
That. And other than that, the goals never change. 300 is my 300 subs is the next milestone. Gotta grind towards that, and that's pretty much that pretty much does it for me. I'm a boring man sometimes.
Hey, man, you're like listen, man, I got to say, like, with all due respect, like, I think that you're like the Morgan Freeman when it comes to, like, Eagles YouTuber. Like, I feel like I could just, like, you could narrate, like, the Eagles' life or something, like, or you could narrate Jalen Hurts' life or Nick Sirianni's life. If they ever do a documentary, you should definitely be involved because I definitely do think you have the voice for it. But anyway, guys, thanks.
That doesn't sound good for entertainment value, does it?
No. Hey, man, we gotta have some fun. We gotta have some fun on the LinkedIn podcast as well. But anyway, guys, appreciate you guys, love you guys, and we will see you next time.
Absolutely.